Hi everybody, it's Guest Safety Officer Lobby Group, Season 2, Episode 19. Yes, we were here with Gary. We were, honestly. The problem is he is actually working and he's at an event at this particular moment in time, hard at work. And he's had to go off to save someone because that's what Gary does. Anyway, fortunately for me, I'm not alone. As you can probably see on the screen, well, I hope you can, it's young, dynamic Dawn Dines. Now, Dawn, strangely enough, is given a global dimension to today's show because she is in Mexico. Yes, Mexico, as we say in England. So, Dawn, welcome. What are you doing in Mexico?
Well, lovely. Thank you so much for having me on, the lovely Ian Fox, again, to share our news. I'm joined at the moment with a mariachi band that's just started to play. So please excuse that in the background. But do you know what, Ian? The day I arrived here, I've come over for a friend's wedding.
Yeah.
The day I arrived, we popped down to the swimming pool. And I was in the pool and I met a couple from America. And then this guy came over and we started to talk about, what I do for a living,
Yeah.
And do you know what? This guy had been spiked. He was out in an all-inclusive resort. He got spiked. He ended up in jail. They took off all his money from him, all of his jewelry. He had loads of stuff taken out of his room. And, he was so frightened. They put him up in a different hotel. He was scared to go out again. He got hold of his mum and dad and said, he was only 20 years old.
Oh.
And so, yet again, it just goes to show that spiking is done for a multitude of reasons and it is a global issue. And so,
oh, sorry about that, people.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So when I explained to him what I was doing, he knew about stop tops. He knew about nightcaps. I left him a load of stop tops, and I said to him that when he rung his mum and dad to say that somebody was there and giving him advice, just to put their minds at rest as well. So, and then I started speaking to the other American couple. Some of their friends had been spiked as well, and it's like this issue, wherever I seem to go around the world, I find people that it's affected. So it is a global issue. And I believe that the UK are the leading force on this, and that other countries are now coming to us and talking to us about, we're speaking to different ministers in Australia now. We've got different representatives in New Zealand, in Israel, in South Africa. Obviously, we've been dealing with America for a long time, and we've just had some companies contact us from Canada. So, as I say, a global issue, but obviously we're here in the UK. So I'd like to share some news, what's been happening.
Yeah, hang on a second. Saying that is really important, Dawn, because it is a global issue. We do need to remember that. Yeah, and it unfortunately always will be. People will always use some form of narcotic to use, or chemical cost, whatever you want to call it, to nefarious, illegal criminal purposes.
Yeah.
Beyond just being sexual predators. But you mentioned ministers there, didn't you? Didn't you do something at Scotland Yard recently?
Yes, we did. Yeah, that was do you know what? It was a bit of an emotional day for me, to be honest, because I went up to Scotland Yard. I was asked to go in and join on the round table. So we had people there from different organisations. We had Drink Aware. We also had Ian Graham, who's the head licensing officer for the Met Police, which was great. We had Safer Business Network. We also had the police lady, Samantha Batchelor. We've been in contact with her for the last couple of years. So it's been great to be able to share our knowledge and expertise. Yeah. We had all of the press that were invited. So we were discussing the importance of accredited training, because we feel that is the next step. Like, I know that since I've been over here, the general election has been announced for the 4th of July. a little bit sooner than we were hoping for at stamp out spiking, but it is what it is. So we're just hoping that this law, the criminal justice bill that's hoping to go through, we're hoping that that's going to be sorted in time. If not, then, you know, we have got 5 cross-political parties who've all agreed that the law needs to be updated. So if it doesn't happen this time, and whatever government gets put into place, I'm sure it's going to happen in the future. So after the law being updated, now the round tables, this is all my wish list after I met with the Home Secretary. And like, you know, I went in with quite a big listy. And so, yeah, we're ticking them all down as we're going. So, you know, I've got to say, James Cleverly stuck to his word, which is amazing because, you know, loads of people said to me, oh, don't count your chickens till they're hatched. And I know I shouldn't, of course. But, you know, at the moment, all of that big wish list, the ticks are starting to come down that list, which is fantastic. And after the round table, I thought, do you know what? I really need to get all my ducks in a row here because I'm so passionate and emotional about what I'm trying to do.
So what did you do?
I didn't take my foot off the pedal, but what I did do is I didn't have all of my partners in place. And that's something that I'm always shouting about. Like, you know, we should all work together, collaborative working. But, you know, after reaching out to different people years ago, I just didn't revisit. And now we have.
So that's a bit, I suppose I was coming up with this because I know you've put together, a strategic board.
Yeah.
A strategic board for Stamp Out. That's very professional, Dawn. You know, that's
Wow.
you know, thing. You know, is that what on earth made you go, right? You know, I'm doing the best I can, but I need some help. And who did you go to for that help?
First of all, initially, I spoke to Annie Shabib from the UK Crowd Management Association. And I sort of had an initial meeting with Annie, and I told her what my concerns were, like how I'm coming up against closed doors all the time, and how like stamp out spiking need to educate key people in areas to safeguard, you know, whether that be in a large crowd, whether it be in a small pub, whether it be at a festival, whether it be key emergency services. All of the people that we've started to train, we've realized that police officers need to know this key safeguarding information. They need to know the different drugs that are used, what people act like, what they look like. We all need to have this step-by-step guide of exactly what's happening out on our streets. So when I talk with the Thames Valley police officers, I've got a meeting next week when I come home with the Police and Crime Commissioner there, Matthew Barber. He's a big advocate for our work. I'm also meeting with the police from Sussex. So Katie Bourne, another Police and Crime Commissioner, she's another big advocate for our work. So we're speaking to lots of different police and crime commissioners, which is an amazing step forward. But we really need to be, you know, diverse right across the board. We need to be where those large crowds of people are. We need to be in those festivals so that we can disseminate all this key safeguarding information. And oh, sorry.
So yeah, well, absolutely, because I'm just gonna digress slightly because I really want to focus on the strategic board and what you did.
Yeah.
But you did go. I know recently you went to Skills Education Group.
Yes.
Conference and gave a presentation there that went down well, didn't it?
It did go down really well. Yeah, we had some great feedback, and thank you to yourself and my other strategic board member, the lovely Satya Ray from IPSA, who came along to support me. And you know, it was great to be able to go in and explain my journey from where I've come from to what we've actually achieved right now, which is hopefully getting the law updated. I mean, it's on the cards, isn't it? And that is going to happen. But we've also been awarded an international stamp out spiking day for the work that we've achieved. which is amazing. That's on the 15th of July. And do you know what? After being at the International Women's Day, we had the LMS security group who contacted me after my guest speaker slot, and they said, Dawn, we can't believe it. We went back to our office, and over 50% of the women, they're an all-women team, had been spiked. And so we were like, we want to do something for you. And I was, again, like being a bit emotional. I was like, oh my God. Like, you know, when other people believe in what you're doing, it just gives you that extra boost of confidence. And you know, they've agreed to do a stomp to stamp out spiking on the 15th of July. They're going to stomp. It's probably because I'm always wearing weird boots. I'm not sure. But they said they're going to do like a 10K stomp. So they're going to go around this park at lunchtime, all of them, and they're going to do some sponsorship for us. So we're asking anybody out there on that week in July, starting on the 15th of July, if anybody, you know, would like to help us. We're a small charity. We're quite a small team with a huge workload. So if anybody out there can help us to raise some money to stop all of these issues and educate people, then we're asking you to check our website so you can do a stomp to stamp out spiking. But again, I'm not talking about my strategic board.
Yeah, I know, but that's it. And I do want now to, we've got to focus on this board, because this board, you know, I look at the names, right? Now I'm just gonna say Tom Devine, top man. Paul Evans, top man. Yeah. Martin Murray, top man. Yeah. Satya Ray, wonderful human being. Totally. Michaela, fantastic. You know, saying Mark Burtonwood, great bro. I don't know John Collins. I don't know Amy Burrell, and I haven't met Laura Curra, but these people are all top of the game professionals. You know, what are you doing with them?
Oh my God, I might be seen as one soon. You never know, Ian.
Ooh.
Do you know what? Seriously, I know I'm always messing around, and I'm just a natural girl. Do you know what I mean? I just can't put on these little airs and graces to do stuff. But actually, down deep at heart, I do have a plan. I do know what I'm doing. And of course, I am here to not only make a sustainable charity, I am here to get the law changed. I am here to stop men and women getting raped and robbed on our streets. And I am here to ensure that we are going to give the perpetrators a bloody good run for their money. At the end of the day, we're going to educate as many people as we possibly can so that we can intervene when these people are taking people off and they're, you know, doing the most dreadful crimes, and they're like invisible crimes, because at the moment we've got less than 2% conviction rate. That needs to change. It urgently needs to change. And having people like Mark Burton Woods, who's, you know, he's an amazing guy, and just some of the little bits and tips that he gives to me is invaluable to somebody like me that's learning as I'm going along. And these people, you know, you mentioned Satya Ray. She's a massive advocate of our work, and she's such a lovely lady. She really is. And she's helped me, pointed me in the right direction. Annie Shabib's like, she's another really natural person. And she's like, right, come on then, Dawn, tell me as it is. So I can sit there with her and we can run through exactly the closed doors that I'm coming up against. And do you know what? And just having all of those minds behind me, it makes such a difference, because now that I know that if I can't answer something, I've got this whole strategic team behind me who can. And together, what a difference we're going to make. It really is. So, yeah, absolutely delighted. Laura was unfortunately a victim of spiking, so she can bring in that realness that we need. And so for me, it's always about, we're victim led here at Stamp Out Spiking. we're here to safeguard all the men and the women who've been affected by these terrible crimes. And, I often contact all of the people who've contacted me, and I always ask them different questions like, how did this happen? Why were you taken away from your friends? How could they single you out on your own? And all of that key information is what we put into our accredited training, because then we're teaching the people, on the street. We're there at street level, and that's where we're going to make the biggest difference. It's not in a boardroom with a load of people who are never front line. This is the real people on the street doing the work that can safeguard. And that for me is, it's essence.
Well, the thing is, I can tell you now, you've got a board there. You've got a board there that deliver, for their organisations on a daily basis. They are not people that are decorations. They're not there to be decorations. They will want to achieve something and feel that their time has been well spent helping you, and that's for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's just unbelievable, Dawn. A really, really fantastic step forward for you. I mean, have you got any other work? I mean, for instance, when's the work? I know you've been collating some stuff with Professor Simon Moore.
Yes.
From Cardiff University. Have you any idea when that? I mean, that's information.
That's going to be released probably in the second week of June. So all of that data, I mean, that is so important for us, because we've gone out and sharing that news. And when I've spoken to Professor Moore and sent him over the initial statistics that we found, we were all quite shocked, actually. Some in a good way, some not quite in such a good way. But all of that data is going to be released. We're going to be finding out like where we've been letting victims down along their journey. So was it because they couldn't get to the hospital? Was it because we couldn't get those samples in time? Was it because they didn't even know what happened to them? Those date rape drugs were out their system. There's a multitude of reasons, and it's something that we can now have that's concrete, that we can go back and start working with partners. We've been contacted. I've got meetings coming up soon with Drink Aware, with Best Bar None, with Safer Business Network. These are going to be all key people that we're going to need to work with in the future, so that we can all be singing off the same hymn sheet to make positive change. And also, I've got contacted recently by the Westminster Policy Group to chair its understanding and tackling spiking issues. So I've been invited to chair that meeting, and I know that Michael Keel's going to be speaking on it. I've also reached out to Richard Graham. He's going to be the MP for Gloucester. He's been instrumental in helping our work. So, Richard's going to be saying a few words, and there's quite a few different organisations that are going to be on that group. So it's going to be, I felt delighted when they phoned me and said, would you chair it? I was like, oh, so do you know what, Ian? Stamp Out Spiking is really starting to make a difference.
Good. But Richard, with the election being called, you do realise that there are no MPs now.
Yes, well,
there are
do you know what? He couldn't come in live, so he was doing a recording for it. So I just hope that recording's been done.
Yeah, well, let's see. Yeah, nobody can be an MP now until after the election. And I should know, because I stood for it. I stood for Parliament, but as an independent, folks. Yes, I did. Anyway, this is not about me. It should be, but it isn't. But let's talk about serious stuff now. Dawn, come on. What else? Is there any more? Is there anything else I should know?
Is there anything else you should know? Well, the strategic board is just, for me, to die for. I just can't believe that I've been so lucky to get all of those fantastic, amazing professionals join with us. That's really going to help me so much on my journey. And I think with, you know, these conferences coming up, we've had the police intensification week, and now we're starting to work with more police crime commissioners. Then, you know, just our accredited training, we've started to get the feedback from that now. And that's been phenomenal. You know, people are saying they learned so much on these training courses. And for me, that's the reason why we do what we do, because we've learned, you know, personally, you know, I've been speaking to hundreds, probably thousands of victims over this past 2 decades. And that is the information that needs to be disseminated, because, you know, it's not just about how does spiking happen? What happens to you? It's not just about that anymore. It's about those personal stories that we can intertwine within that training to make sure that people are safeguarded and given the best opportunity to be able to safeguard themselves. When somebody has poisoned them, you know, we keep using this word freely, don't we? Oh, spiking, spiking. It's actually poisoning. That's what people are doing to each other, and that's what really needs to stop. And key on that agenda is education for us.
I think you're right, and I do like that. I don't like it because it sounds wrong, but the personal experiences, that's it. That's the people react better when they hear personal experiences rather than look, rather than look at a set of PowerPoint slides. You can have as many PowerPoint slides as you like, but none of that will ever take or replace somebody who's speaking from experience. Now, just to think, because I'm aware of the time, and you are on holiday, and there's a mariachi band to dance.
Yeah, I'm glad they've stopped. I can hear you better now.
It was all right. It was, the thing was, for people earlier when it was playing, the thing, Dawn was having a little dance in the background. Unfortunately, I didn't get to record it, so I can't put that out.
Thank goodness for that.
Well, it looked like a pretty good dance. But was it, so have you got any news on the charity status or anything like that? Has anybody, you know?
Oh, I can't believe that I've forgotten to mention that. That's
What
probably
do you
the
mean
most
forgotten?
exciting thing what's happened to me. Well, last week, Annie Shabib put out a post on LinkedIn, and they've chosen Stamp Out Spiking as their chosen charity. And, you know, oh my God, I was so emotional about it. I was just like, I sent her a message and she said, Dawn, I wanted it as a surprise. And like, do you know what? For someone like that, this is massive for us. It's absolutely massive. These, you know, since I've been in Mexico, by the way, they've had a terrible accident since I've been over here, because there's politicians and there's political rallies and stuff going on while I've been in here in Mexico, and I think there's been quite a few people killed and injured. And I saw that Annie had put something up because, you know, for the Crowd Management Association, this is obviously a global issue for them as well, and for Tom. So, you know, that this is other news that needs to be shared as well. So, and, you know, they thankfully recognized our work in trying to help globally what we're doing on spiking issues. So I think whatever we can do to help their work as well on a global scale, because, you know, England, we are like leading the way on safety. We really are. And I believe that that should be shared on a global scale, whether it's about crowd management, spiking, alcohol issues. You know, if the more that we can collaboratively work on a global scale, the better chance we've got of disseminating all this key information to help safeguard other countries.
Oh, you're absolutely right. And Annie is not only chair of the UK CMA, I think she's also secretary to the global, or vice chair of the Global Crowd Management Association. And yes, it was a terrible accident, you know, a set of circumstances that occurred there in high wind. But that's what they do. As you say, they are looking to stop, prevent, so that when you go out, just as you do, you can go out as an individual and you can enjoy yourself. You can relax, make the most of your time, and come home safely. And that's what we're all setting about to do. Dawn, I think unless you've got something absolutely marvelous to say, I'm going to call it a day there.
No worries. Just really quickly, just to end off, I've obviously been going online and I've seen that Fegan Murray has got over the line. So fair play to that lady for marching all the way to Westminster. And I just hope and pray that her law gets updated alongside ours.
Can I just say on that, I was in the what the thing is, it is going to happen for Fegan, and you know, because the opposition have also said that, you know, whatever the result of the election, it's going to go through. So it is going to happen. You know, so that's good, because one of the biggest problems that, you know, that you can have in the political sense is when these things get kicked into the long grass, you know, during a general election, which is what's happened on numerous things. But let's focus on you. That's great for Fegan. You know, let's hope that you continue to do what you do, and do so well. Have a great time, Dawn. Enjoy the rest of it. I don't know how many days have we got left.
Thank you.
How many
I've got
days?
3 days left.
Well, so bring me back a hat. Yeah. Peace out.
See ya.